A lot of cultures in the Far East are eating chickpeas 3 times a day just to get good source of protein. And also us, Israelis, and all our neighbors in the Middle East eat hummus for generations. So I think in general, it was highly valued as a good source of protein, very nutritious. And there are even articles that I read that eating chickpea makes you happy.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley, in partnership with Leumi Tech, sponsored by Homeward Ventures, Hippo Insurance, Uppost Labs, Synergy Global, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, Birthright Excel, Serona Partners, and in media partnership with C-Tech. Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Today we're talking about chickpeas. Yes, chickpeas. Meet Taly Nechushtan, the CEO of Innovopro. Taly is an experienced CEO and strategy leader in global companies. She brings over 20 years of experience in mergers and acquisitions and in expanding product lines using innovative strategies and brand management. Taly holds a BA in economics and an MBA, both from Tel-Aviv University. Taly Nechushtan, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders, the CEO of Innovopro. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Michael. Happy to be here.
Thank you very, very much for being here. Looking at the future of food and food tech, and the Israel Export Institute, but looking more strategically about how we as humanity are taking in our protein and taking in the right ingredients that we need, and breaking some of the preconceived notions that we might have, and looking to the future of sustainability and where we ought to be as the civilization. I'm excited to have both a high-level conversation with you about where humanity is going, but also going deep into Innovopro and understanding the chickpea revolution that you're a part of and what that means. So before we even get into all of that, Taly, how did you get your career to be shaping into food tech? How did that happen?
So I think all good things happen by chance. So I started my life at the CPG business, and I was an accountant. And after I studied my MBA with 2 majors, finance and marketing, I fell in love with the marketing side, and then started my career as a marketing. I was leading. I was part of teams that led beautiful launches of food products to new markets, like a tea product and the natural health product, and then moved to totally different areas. The marketing passion took me. My journey was going through food companies, communication companies, where I dealt a lot with innovation and mergers and acquisition, and reached also infrastructure companies who were dealing a lot with sustainability. So then I got the sustainability bug also implemented in me. So marketing and sustainability are the core of my passion. And I met the founder of Innovopro, Dr. Shmulevich, after 20 years in big corporates with global activity. And then I met my third passion, which is chickpea and plant-based proteins. And here we are.
So take me back to when you met the founder of Innovopro, and what did you discover? What was this aha moment for you that made you want to join as a chief executive officer of this company and be at the forefront of a shift in consumer behavior?
So I think everything joined into one. I realized that the future of food is connected very strongly to new technologies of plant-based proteins, and also that the well-being of humanity, as you said in the beginning, is very much connected to what we eat, how we behave. And I think both things join together And I studied a lot prior to me entering Innovopro as the first employee. I studied for 6 months the ecosystem and the competition and the consumer behavior. And I realized that this is not just the future of food, but also something that is important to me personally, that will probably affect the future of our children. And I was the first employee of Innovopro.
Beautiful. Okay, Taly, tell me, before we dive into Innovopro and some of the strategy and milestones and vision, what is it about chickpeas that makes sense? Why is this a viable solution and for what?
I think chickpeas were always like the royal legume because it always was connected with a lot of cultures. It was connected with health. And also there are many studies that are connecting chickpeas to many health conditions. And I think chickpea was always a legume that was considered very rich in protein and better for human health. A lot of cultures in the Far East are eating chickpeas 3 times a day just to get good source of protein. And also us, Israelis, and all our neighbors in the Middle East eat hummus for generations. So I think in general, it was highly valued as a good source of protein, very nutritious. And there are even articles that I read that eating chickpea makes you happy. So it's not a surprise that many important magazines and researchers are calling now the chickpea phenomena the mighty chickpea. It's one of the leading emerging pulses and interesting that are in the interest of consumers. And people would like to see more and more chickpeas in general in their diet. And of course, since we are very busy people, we go to work, even in COVID. In Innovopro, we come to work every day. So I think it's not possible for us anymore to cook 3 times a chickpea meal a day. And we rely a lot on food companies and what we call processed food. And processed food doesn't have to be bad. Right now, it's not that good. Consumers are really concerned about what they see on a lot of the packaging in supermarkets, and when they buy online, they read the list of ingredients, they see numbers, they see ingredients that they cannot pronounce their names, and they are concerned. And I think this movement of consumers that are putting back in the shelf products that they don't find comfortable to eat anymore because they are too processed is the Innovopro opportunity. What we're offering is an ingredient that can combine in a processed food. However, it enables the creation of clean label recipes, clean label product with short list of ingredients, and of course, recognizable. If you take, for example, I don't know that you are also from this area. So probably for us, imagining hummus as an enabler for yogurt might be surprising. But chickpea protein is a smart ingredient. It enables the creation of clean label applications that are very diversified. They can go from yogurts with chickpea protein that you eat and you really have a sense of creaminess that you cannot suspect that it is coming from legume. It really tastes like dairy, or ice creams or beverages, all based on chickpea protein and with the nutritional value of their similar dairy product. So this is what we're offering. We're offering an ingredient that can work like a smart agent in recipes, very easy to incorporate, very mild in taste. The biggest problem of consumers that would like to do something good for the environment, to reduce their meat consumption, to reduce their dairy consumption, what goes in the middle between their wish and their acting is the taste. Not everyone can relate to the taste of plant-based proteins. A lot of people report that they cannot stand even the smell of some plant-based proteins like soy, for example. And it's a challenge to create plant-based protein products that are also tasty. And I think this is another strong attribute or a uniqueness of the chickpea protein of Innovopro, because it has a neutral taste. So if you're combining this, what we call the 5 pillars, it's like 5 important qualities that this ingredient has in one, and it's hard to find them together in other plant-based proteins. So it's about the clean labelness. It's about, of course, the taste, which is the most important thing in food. We would like to enjoy when we eat, not just to consume. And the functionality, which is important for R&D managers in those industrialized food companies, and the sustainability. And our process is highly sustainable, meaning the chickpea itself, it's a rotational crop. It grows in the farmers use it as a rotational crop, meaning it brings back nitrogen to the soil.
Interesting.
And we source it next to the factory, and then we apply our technology. In the end, we get our CP Pro 70, and then this smart agent is going to many food companies and saving them a lot of emissions, because instead of buying like 5 to 7 other ingredients and sourcing them and importing them and storing them and logistically handling them, they handle one ingredient that is doing basically a job of many more. So they
So
get
essentially,
a
what you're saying is that
nutritious
you're both.
product. Sorry.
You're saying that there's both a shift in consumer behavior, that consumers are looking for on-shelf products, processed food that have ingredients, obviously, that they can abbreviate and they know what they mean. But then there's also on the business side, on the logistics front, on the emissions front, on the carbon footprint, the ability for companies to not just be more appealing to consumers, but to also create products that taste better because of the tasteless notion of the chickpeas, but also in terms of the way that it's being processed through the smart agent that Innovopro is creating. Did I get that right?
Absolutely. Yes, I think this is the essence of what we do.
And so what really was the catalyst for all of this? Is this a new idea that chickpeas can facilitate as a smart agent for a lot of these processes? Is this something new that we're just discovering now? In other words, what's been the blocker for us to understand this in the last 50 years of the industrialization of processed food?
It's a very good question, and thank you for that. We are eating plant-based proteins for many years. The first era of plant-based protein was soy protein, and it's an industry of more than 60 years that is extracting the protein from soybeans in the way that is considered today by consumers not sustainable, because it's using organic solvents in order to do that. And more and more consumers, not only food companies, also consumers are concerned about the supply chain, about the processing way. So soy protein is a very good source of protein, very nutritious, and it's the first generation of plant-based proteins. However, its process is not necessarily a sustainable one. And also the way it is normally produced, it's about the crop is growing in North America, then it's being shipped with a lot of emissions in ships into China's factory to be processed, and then coming back all over to the West world to be consumed. So I think this is another thing. The supply chain of soy protein is not local. It was never
Mhm.
created about being local and about and about less emissions. And the second generation, which is an improvement of plant-based protein, was the pea protein, which is a good source of protein. Sometimes the method is with solvent, sometimes without. However, the challenge with pea protein is the taste. And
Mhm.
because it's a good source of protein, a lot of companies are using it, and then they need to mask the taste with a lot of helping agents. And then eventually we get those long list of recipes that intimidate consumers again. And also, the pea protein has its own challenges in functionality, solubility, and so on. And the next generation, always we want something better. The next generation of protein should compensate on everything that lacks in the first two. So we're offering the CP Pro 70 as the third generation of proteins that will be, as we said, sustainable, nutritious, tasty, and functional, all in one.
So where is Innovopro positioned today in this market, and what is the vision of where you're taking this company?
So we started in Israel with today we're a team of more than 20 multidisciplinary professionals coming from different fields. Food technologists, food engineer, process engineers, biotechnologists, and today we're looking into being a platform of chickpea-based ingredients. We discovered that CP Pro 70 can be the first pioneer in the, let's say, list of products that are available from the chickpea. We intend to invest a lot in research and development in order to utilize the side streams of our process, because the chickpea has many more inside, not just the protein. It has
Mm.
fibers, it has oil, it has starch, it has sugars, and all of them are very interesting ingredients that can contribute to those food companies that are looking for clean label ingredients. And on top of that, we issued this year 2 new products that are based on CP Pro 70, but are blends to offer some kind of a short way to food companies. We issued the TVP, which is a texturized plant-based protein that is mainly used for the meat analog industry. It has a structure and it contributes to the bite feeling. When you eat a impossible burger and you want to feel the bite like a meat, so what you really feel is those texturized proteins, the plant-based
Mhm.
proteins inside. So this is one product that is a mixture, and our product was the first to be launched based on chickpea protein. The second one was another interesting solution for the bakery industry. It's a product that mimics the egg white functionality for industrialized baking company. So they can create meringue, for example, without without the egg white.
Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. And so, Tali, I have to ask, is this trivial for the companies that you're selling to the food manufacturers? Do they immediately understand what the CP70 Pro, what it means, and what the solution is, and how this
Mhm.
can be a solution that can be an enabler for them for many things in their current supply chain of products that they're building? Is it
I
trivial?
think there is a lot of curiosity about that.
Mm-hmm.
The R&D teams in companies, never mind if it's global companies like Nestle or Danone, where the R&D teams are huge, or family-owned companies in many countries, or even startups. Everyone has curious people inside, and they want to discover new ingredients in order to become more relevant to consumers. So there is a demand and there is a lot of curiosity to find new ingredients, to find new solutions. The implementation part is harder because
Yeah.
because implementing is always the hard part. It takes more than just a trial in the lab. So sometimes such processes take some time
Mm-hmm.
until those companies reach enough maturity, enough understanding, enough. They're building their own machine lines sometimes for plant-based yogurt. Sometimes the machine that's used for regular yogurt are not the same, so they need maybe to buy sometimes new equipment or to get their hands on some knowledge that they didn't have before. So it takes some time, but we see that the need is out there, the demand is very big, and more companies are getting confident from seeing new launches of other companies in other regions. So it's about the more the merrier.
Taly, thank you very, very much for introducing me to the chickpea revolution, to Innovopro, and for giving me a little bit of insight into what's happening in the food market, both from a consumer behavior standpoint, but also from a company perspective of the logistics and what is now being possible through a lot of these solutions. And I really appreciate your time and the impact that you're having on everything, obviously. So thank you very much, and stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much. Bye
Thank you.
bye.